sitting here, ready to go. Hi, everybody. I'm Mark. Welcome to Mondays with Mark, and we're on your favorite YouTube channel, SmokeySteveAndMarc, right? How is everybody? I really hope you're doing good. I'm doing well. It's nice to see everybody. Today we have a fun episode. It's going to be split into two parts, maybe. But first, we have some exciting news. We just got the letter today that we have officially joined the YouTube community. We got our letter that we are now going to be monetizing. So that was kind of exciting. It didn't take long for them to review our channel. I guess we're doing something right? I'm hoping, you know. So that was some exciting news and positive news. And I thought we would talk just a couple minutes on positivity. And then after that, you know how much I like to DIY and craft and cook and stuff, so we have a little craft project. It's more of a building project. I promised you that we would do a bottle tree, so we're going to do a bottle tree today, but I'll explain a little more about that later, so stick around for that. But first, I wanted to talk a little bit about positivity because, you know, it's something that I do struggle with and I'm really trying to implement in my life, especially recently because I've had some, you know, medical diagnoses that I'm struggling to accept, which can cause negative emotions. And I went to the dentist today. I need some dental work done, and that freaked me out for a second, but I applied my positive thinking to it. So I thought that would be a great topic to talk about. So honestly, you know, I truly believe, oh, and I have to say, you know how I get nervous when it's just me on Mondays with Mark, and I do have trouble getting like what's in my head out of my mouth. So I did take some notes to write down here, so I'll probably look at them. I have on here like, remember to say this. It's so basic, it's ridiculous, but that's what I have to do to keep my mind straight, right? I honestly, I do believe that life is just 10% of what happens to us and 90% of how we react to it. I mean, that's been true in my life. You know, you can't, as humans, we can't selectively choose to feel an emotion. You know what I mean? They just just come all the time. I mean, our minds constantly have thoughts and emotions going through it, whether we want it to or not. It just happens that way. Let me get comfortable here. Okay, and these thoughts and these emotions, they can influence like our every action, you know. So I'm going to talk a little bit today about the power of positivity and how to implement it into our lives. And it's something that I'm doing now, and my hopes is it's something that you might embrace and try to do in your lives too, because you know, we can all use a little more positivity, right? So I just think back of like, I think of children, you know, as a child I was positive. And I mean, when you think of children, they're positive, you know, like what 4-year-old child that draws a picture or paints a picture isn't like filled with glee and pride and wants to show everybody and hang it on the refrigerator? We tend to be positive as children, but as the years go on, and you know, there's reasons for this. You know, we take on more responsibilities, we grow up, we get out into the real world. But as the years go on, it seems to me that our minds become more negative than positive, or should I say it's more easier to go the negative route than the positive route. I don't know why that is. I put a big explanation point on that. Why? In my experience, and I'm hoping that some people can relate to this, but in my experience, it just seems to be almost automatic or very easy to be and react negatively than it is positively. It seems to be a little bit harder you have to work a little more to be positive than you do to be negative. And I just don't know why that is, you know. Now, I'm not a psychologist or a psychiatrist or a therapist or anything like that. I'm just sharing like my experience with this, you know, because I mean, as humans, there's so many different reasons that all this can happen. You know, I mean, there's mental health reasons, there's situational reasons, there's, you know, there's all type of things. I'm talking broader just in general and how it, you know, kind of like related to me. These negative thoughts and these negative emotions can lead to symptoms, you know, and these symptoms, you know, depression and anger, disappointment, all those things. And I just think it's time for me to stop the insanity. You know, a little shout out there to Susan Powter Remember her? Stop the insanity. Loved her. You loved her too, right?
I loved her.
He's
I still
behind the
do.
camera. Steven's here, by the way.
Hello, everyone.
You still love her. Oh, she's a hot mess. I love her.
Yeah, she's
her.
a train wreck, but
She
I love her.
is. I love her too. But stop the insanity. Ooh, excellent quote. I love it. So, the first thing, what I think is the key to all this is to understand what these negative emotions are trying to tell us, okay? Because I think, there's power and value behind these negative emotions. I mean, negative emotions are not really good nor bad. I mean, in reality, they're not even really negative. We just feel that they are, they're feelings, feelings do not necessarily equal reality either. I had to learn that the hard way. We have to understand that, as humans, life can be hard. Life can be difficult. I mean, at times life can be extremely difficult. I mean, that's true for every person on this earth, I believe that hard times, suffering, I think that can breed character too, and it's all how we react to it. And I'm trying to live those words, I'm trying to implement that in my life and live those words every day. But sometimes that can be a little bit harder to do than said, I think. But those negative thoughts, and when life is hard and gets us down, those negative thoughts, those negative feelings can bring on negative emotions. And then we get the symptoms of anger and disappointment and all of that. Now, I think if we acknowledge that there is a purpose behind these negative feelings or emotions, we can learn how to navigate them. For example, I mean, it's really positive. How can I put it? Like, the negative feeling and emotion, there's something behind it. It's positive in nature. For example, let's just go for an example. I wrote 4 down. Anger. Anger it's a protection mechanism of sorts. It can have us maybe harness that anger together to make a change in a situation that is negative or something that that's uncomfortable in our lives. We can turn anger into a positive thing. Guilt and shame, that's easy. I mean, it can urge us to do the right thing. It can make us maybe go back and make an amends or something, and that can clear that negative thought or feeling that might be on our mind. Fear is something is wrong. It can provide us with protection as well. It can protect us from danger, alert us of danger. And sadness, I think can, it can enhance compassion and empathy. Those are all positive spins on negative symptoms and negative emotions, So I put together 4 little tips here that I'm implementing in my life every day, and my hopes is that it becomes automatic, okay? And the first one, I shared this about 2 months ago on a Marc's Quick Tip. Usually they're all like little crafting or cooking things that are real short, like 2 minutes long. This one was about, negative thoughts, and it's simply replacing a negative thought with a positive thought. And I've really been trying to do this in the last couple of months, and I have found that the more I do this, it's becoming more and more automatic. And, it's as simple as just a negative thought, a negative emotion comes to my mind. I consciously think of something positive, and it does not have to be the same subject. Like if I'm worried about I don't have enough money to pay a bill, and I'm ruminating about it, and it's negative, and it's dragging me down, and I'm starting to get anxious about it, and, I can think of something different. I don't have to think about winning the lottery. I don't have to think about, I get paid tomorrow, although those are positive thoughts. But I could think about something, say, that I enjoy doing, like working in the garden, or, a flower that I nursed back to health bloomed. Anything positive to sort of just like negate that negative thought. That was one that has been working for me. And the more I do it, the more automatic it becomes. 2 is to see the positive side of any given situation. This is a little bit harder, but again, the more you practice it, it does help. Like today, I went to the dentist today, and my biggest character defect is procrastination. I put things off till the very last minute. I knew I was having some tooth pain. I knew I had to do it. I just kept putting it off. But today I went to the dentist and I need some extensive dental work done. Okay, so immediately all these negative thoughts came. I can't afford it. It's going to be so painful. It's going to lead to other complications. It's going to take 10 years to do. I'm going to have to walk around with no teeth. Tons of negative thoughts came right away. Boom, 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 boom. But I was like, but wait a minute. Stop the insanity. And I said, there's positivity to this. The first and foremost thing is that I got off my butt and I went to the dentist. For me, that's a victory. That's a positive thing because I kept putting it off. And then I was feeling guilty about that. And then I was feeling like, oh man, apathy. Just screw it. I'm not going to do it ever anyway. Let all my teeth fall out, you know? So, you know, see the positive side to any negative situation because they're there. 3, this is a good one. 1 time a day. Well, just once a day. Just sit down real quick and jot down 5 things that you're grateful for. Look, I truly believe that a grateful heart, or if you have gratitude in your heart, it's almost difficult to be negative. And you know what? It lightens the mood a little bit after I write this little list, you know? And some of the things that I'm grateful for on a daily basis, obviously, my family, Steven and Bandit, you know, I'm grateful that I have somebody in my life who loves me and supports me and who I love back and that we have a healthy relationship. That is like, I'm so grateful for that, you know? I mean, the quality time that we have together, our little time in the evening, when I sit here and we watch our show together, I look over at the window, Bandit sitting at the window, I look over at Steve, he's watching TV and eating popcorn. Quality time. This is something that I'm grateful for. That's a positive thought too. And all of a sudden, those negative thoughts and those depressing thoughts and anything like that kind of, it's just a little bit lighter, you know what I mean? And also, making a little gratitude, and I'm not saying a huge gratitude list, you know, I'm just saying 5 things. It also, you know, it kind of keeps it real, and, you know, you tend to not take things for granted, too. You know, it's very easy to take things that we have in our everyday life for granted until they're gone, you know. So, and number 4, this is another one that works very well for me, and I think I do this probably at least four times a week. Write it down, especially at night when you're going to bed. I have a tendency of letting things ruminate in my mind, and then it turns into negative thoughts, negative emotions, and everything just gets jumbled up in there. I have a little pad. I just write it down. If it's that bill I'm worried about, I'll write down pay bill or worried about bill. Literally, just I'm worried about a bill. You know, I think Bandit is sick. I have to work tomorrow. I don't feel well. I write it down, I acknowledge it, and I set it aside. And for some reason, that lightens it too. And it seems, I don't know, there's something about the action of getting it in my head, putting it down on paper, and then putting it aside. And it helps. All these little tips help. And, you know, you just can't go wrong with it. There's a little acronym that I want to share with you. It's ACDC. This will help you. A is acknowledge the emotion and honor it. You don't want to just push aside any negative emotion. That, in turn, gives it a little more power, believe it or not. Put it on the back burner. Just don't think about it. Look, just acknowledge it, honor it, move on, okay? Give it a little respect. Okay, I feel you. All right. It kind of loses a little bit of energy there. A, that was A. C is consider the positive intention of the emotion. And we just talked about that. There's a positive intention behind those negative emotions. Like I said about, like, if you're feeling guilty or shame, the positive intention behind that is perhaps I should do the next right thing. You know, so the next letter is D, double check your story. Just give yourself a reality check. Is that thing you're worried about really, do you need to worry about it? You know, maybe I already have enough money to pay that bill. Just give yourself a little reality check. Double check. And C, choose your action. What action are you going to take? Sometimes it's not taking any action. Sometimes it's just to feel it. And that's okay. That's okay. Believe it or not, that's a positive action. And one thing that I do, and well, we'll get to that because that'll lead into our little craft project. But that acronym again was ACDC. A, acknowledge. C, consider. D, double check. And C, choose your action. So, anyway, I believe if we practice these things consciously, I believe all this will become almost just natural to us, and I think it will invite more positivity into our lives. I truly believe that positivity attracts positivity, and I certainly could use some positivity in my life, so I have been trying it. Now, I guess number one thing I do is when I'm getting all negative and blah blah blah, is that I get I don't know what the word is for it, but I put my mind on something else. I do something that I enjoy doing, like gardening or doing a building project or cooking or baking. And that's going to lead us into our next little project here. But I hope you liked my little points on positivity. I hope I got the point across that I was trying to get across. I made notes, but you know how I get with talking. Sometimes I get like all sidetracked and everything and become long-winded too, maybe. I don't even know how many minutes we're on, but one of my favorite quotes in the world is by Helen Keller. Happiness cannot come from without, it comes from within. So it does start with us. And I think the more that we're positive, we'll spread that, and the more positivity we'll get. So, on that note, we're gonna build a bottle tree. So can you give me just a second to get the materials together? All right, we'll be right back. Okay, good, you're still there. Okay, good. Well, we're back, and we're going to make a bottle tree. Are you still positive? I'm still positive. Okay, so we're gonna make a bottle tree. These seem to be like all the trend this year. You see them all over Pinterest, all over Google, and I've seen in our neighborhood alone, I'm gonna say a handful of them. People make them, they come in all shapes and sizes. If you don't know what a bottle tree is, all a bottle tree is a center post with bottles around the outside of it. That's all it is, basically. And they come in all shapes, all sizes. We're going to make a medium-sized one today out of beer bottles. But I've seen them as tall as 10 feet tall, made with big wine bottles. You can use any type of bottle you want. Today we're using beer bottles. So, if you want to recreate what I'm making, I'll show you exactly what I'm using, but feel free to adjust it and tweak it in any way you want to do it, okay? These are really cool looking in the garden, by the way. So, for this project, all you need is a center post, and I just have, this is a 2x2 scrap piece of wood that I had, and I just gave it a quick paint job with spray paint of green. I had some leftover green paint, so I painted it green, but I also like the look of it just being raw, you know, and natural looking. So you'll need a post. Again, this is these are 2x2s here, which will be plenty of support for beer bottles. If you're going with something larger like wine bottles, I would go maybe a little bit larger than that, 2.5, maybe even a 3x3, but these are pretty sturdy. In addition to that, you'll need bottles. And we're using beer bottles today, and I have some different, I have brown, green, and clear we're going to use today. You're going to need screws. I would suggest getting the largest, these heavy-duty, big daddy screws here. These are 5-inch wood screws, but you can use 4-inch too. I wouldn't go any smaller than 4 inches though, because you need that support. So the larger the screw, the better. And obviously the hardware, you're going to need a screwdriver and a Sharpie, maybe a nail. I'll show you what. And also, this is optional, but I'm going to light mine up. I'm going to show you how to do it. And I got this set. It's a 200 string light string, and it's indoor, outdoor. It's battery operated, and it has a timer on it. So it'll go on for 8 hours and off for 16 hours. Saves the battery time. That's really cool. But you can do solar lights too. That would be cool. So anyway, that's optional. You don't have to do that if you want. I've even seen people plant vines that grow up them and anything. So the first thing you're going to want to do is take your bottles and wash them out and remove all the labels from them. These were pretty simple to come off. I only needed to use Goo Gone on one of them, so just make sure they're washed and nice and clear. Then you're going to take your post and cut it to the size you want. This is 4 feet here. and I'm going to be installing it inside my cinder block planter in the center of that. And then I made a second one too to show you, and that's going to go right in the garden. I'm not going to put a base on it because I'm going to bury it down into the dirt. But if you want yours freestanding, like if you just want to throw like maybe an inch of dirt over it or something, all you need to do is just get a piece of wood and put a base on the bottom of it so it stands. Just screw maybe a 2x4 or a square piece of wood in the bottom, just something to give it a base to stand up. That if you're going to do it that way. I am not today. So first thing we're going to do is put in our screws, and the way I did that was what we're going to do is randomly put the screws all around this base. Now what I did was I started at the top and I put one screw in, and then from there I measured down 12 inches and put another screw. Then I flipped it and measured down 4 inches from the first screw, and then 12 inches from that one. So I did that all on all 4 sides of the post. So, 4 inches from each screw, and then 12 inches in between the screws. But you'll see it better once I do it. So, and then in order to do that, to make it easy, get yourself an awl. If you don't have an awl, just use a nail or whatever. And we're going to just kind of notch where you want your first screw, just like that. Make it a little bit easier. And then you're going to take a flathead screwdriver, and about 1/4 inch up from where you put that little notch, we're going to put a notch in it just like this, and I'll explain why later. This is above the hole we made for the screw. My wood is pretty soft, but if you need to, use a hammer. You just want a little notch. The little lip of your bottle kind of sits in there, so we'll see that. But anyway, then you're going to take your screw. Now, I decided to do this by hand. Like I said, this is pretty soft wood, but feel free to use your electric drill if you want. But it's very simple because you only need to put it in about, I don't know, about 1/4 of the length of the screw, maybe 1/3 at the most. And you're going to screw it in at, I'm going to say about a 30-degree angle. So it looks like that. And this is where your bottle's going to go. It's going to go on like that. And I don't know if you can see it, but it'll sort of sit in that little notch there. I don't know if you can see it or not, but that's what you're going to do. So anyway, we put the first screw in, and then you're just going to repeat everywhere you put a little notch with your awl. So you have a post that looks like this. Kind of looks like a hat rack in a way. I don't know if you can see them. They're just randomly placed all around it, just like that. You can see they're all at a, I'm going to say that's 30-degree angle. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so. So we're going to go outside right now and install this and put the lights on it. I can't do that in here, obviously. So we're going to go outside and do that. So come on with me. Let's do it. Okay, so we're outside, and as you can see, I installed my post into the center of my cinder block planter here, and I press the dirt down so it's nice and sturdy. And a good rule of thumb is any type of post you have, you want to bury the bottom of it at least 1/3 of the total length of your post. So mine was a little more than 1 foot deep that I planted it, just so it's sturdy enough. So the next step, we're going to put the bottles on it, and like I said, I'm going to light mine up. And for that, we have our battery operated indoor lights. And figure out where you're going to put the battery pack. I'm going to just put it right here, and I'm going to hide it with some moss later. And then you're going to take it, your lights, you're going to leave a little bit of space so that it can get up to where the screw is. So in my case, it's about 1 foot. And double up your lights like this. This will make it a lot easier, okay? Take your bottle and shove the lights in the bottle. I know, right? Really, really, really hard directions here.
I could do this.
I know, right? So we're going to shove them up in there like that. And like I said, you don't have to do this. You could just put lights right up the center of the post if you want, or just leave the lights off if you want. So we have the lights in like that, and you're going to put the bottle on your first screw just like that. And then repeat with all of the screws. So I'll be right back. Let me do that. One's on. Okay, the last one's on, and I have this left over. Never fear. All you do is take it around like this, and just keep wrapping it around the center of your post like this, and it'll look so beautiful at night. Now I know it's daylight right now, and I want to get this video up before it gets dark out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a video and a picture of it once it gets dark tonight, and I'll post it on our Facebook page for you all to see what it looks like at night. And we may even change the thumbnail for the video to a picture of it at night too. So because I really want you to see the way it looks at night. It looks really, really nice. So I'm just going to finish it off like this. Okay, put that down there like that. And so basically that's completed. Turn the lights on. See, I know you can't really see it that well. However, at night it looks beautiful. And to finish and complete the look, what I'm doing is I'm planting a little vine in here that'll grow up the center of it, cover all the wires up and everything. And there you have it. A repurposed, recycled bottle tree. So I hope it inspires you to make one for yourself. Like I said, you can tweak it, you can put your own personality into it, use whatever bottle you want, and they're really, really fun. If you do, definitely take a picture and share it with us too. And if you want more tips, more inspiration on making them, just Google bottle trees. There's so many ideas out there. I just think these are so cool looking. I really do. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you make one. Thank you again so much for watching and spending your evening with me. I'm Marc. This was Mondays with Marc. Please subscribe. Please comment. Please like. Follow us on Facebook. Send us a friend request at SmokeySteveAndMarc. Follow us on Instagram at SmokeySteveAndMarc. And once again, thank you so much. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time. Stay positive, everybody. Bye.